When it comes to agents, we've all heard these great dreams that an agent is going to do all these things for you, but I know we haven't always seen that in practice. And I know you talk to companies like Google and Deloitte and these other big companies that, like you said, are using agents internally, but that's only going to get you so much.
Right.
You're going to try to help them send those agents out into the real world where things get dicey and dangerous.
Right.
Can you talk about some of the challenges that the industry is facing, with that final step, of putting agents out in the wild, and then these businesses, these B2B plays, because that's where you unlock a lot of value. One of the reasons we decided to invest in Synergetics is that unlike most AI plays in Web3, they're selling the services to the Web3 players. And this is a big mistake people make in crypto, is they build crypto tech for the crypto bros and realize there's no audience, and then the company goes nowhere. You know this.
Right.
But when you guys we're talking to Google, we're talking to these huge institutions, that's what got our attention.
Yeah. So I concur with that. The issue is this: when I went to the Web3 conferences, or when I go to the Web2 conferences, there are almost like two religions at play. The AI guys, and then when I go to the Web3 conferences, there are crypto guys, and both are talking about decentralized AI. But then they are saying different things. And so we set out to say that, okay, what are the things that will easily see mass adoption? So when you look at decentralized AI, it's made up of three types of AI: decentralized compute, decentralized data, and decentralized identity. So when we talk to enterprises, I know for a fact that they don't want decentralized compute and they don't want decentralized data. They're very protective of their data and they want to run it on machines that they control. So decentralized compute and decentralized data doesn't work for them. So we said, okay, we'll not endorse or go that route, but they're okay with decentralized ID.
Okay.
So if you take any enterprise, any big company, when you look at their workforce, almost I'd say 90-95% of the people in the company work internally. They're working on internal things like finance or marketing or whatnot. But then about 5%, the C-level people, the sales people, and some marketing people, they'll have to have outreach with external folks. So same way for agents, what's going to happen is you're going to have this sort of bifurcation. You're going to have agents that work inside the company and will not interact with anything outside, and then you're going to have a few agents which will have contact points with external people. So if I take a finance department, for example, let's say a public company, usually the auditor is an external company like Pricewaterhouse or Deloitte or KPMG or whatnot. So there'll be some people in the finance department who will interact with the auditors outside. And so imagine this is an agent on your enterprise side and this is the agent on the other side. So you'll have some interactions. So now there is a sort of an epiphany happening where companies are starting to think, oh yeah, we are using agents internally, but soon they'll have to interface with outside agents. And so I had an opportunity to talk to the chief AI officer of Fidelity recently in a conference, in a kind of an open setting, and I asked him this very question: are you starting to interact with agents outside your enterprise? And he said that's definitely a movement towards that. First of all, they're doing it within their various divisions. They almost run these divisions as independent entities, and so there's agent-agent communication among the divisions itself. And then soon they'll have communications with agents outside their company. And so that movement is there. Now, the example I always give is, and from a US context. So I can use my driver's license and go to the airport and fly anywhere within the US. But then if I want to go outside the US, for example, I'm here in UK today, I have to carry my passport, right? The same way, think of the internal ID that is used within the enterprise as your driver's license. So agents inside the enterprise, they trust each other and they can start to communicate with one another. But then when you want to talk to agents outside, now you have a trust problem. You need a passport.
Okay.
And so what is that passport? So we started to create this registry where you register these agents and so on. And then MIT's initiative Nanda that came along that like built this registry of registries and so on. Now, in speaking of consensus, there's a new ERC standard called 8004. It's called trustless agents. It's exactly what we built, but they have standardized it. So now we are speaking to them to participate in 8004 to at least become a reference implementation of it, because we've already built it. Okay. Where these agents are now, when they say trustless, meaning no agent needs to trust each other. It can look it up in a registry, and by the fact that you are in that registry means that any two agents can trust one another.
Okay.
And so that's what we built is now becoming standardized. And that's a very, very good thing. It's a very healthy thing for the market, and also gives you this property of discoverability. So anyone can look up anyone and go in contact and so on. If you don't have that, you have this peering problem that I mentioned earlier. Everyone needs to have these n number of connections to one another a priori, which is, I mean, once you have billions of agents, that's an intractable problem. It's like, you can't do that anymore. So you have to simplify it, and this 8004 is the right step at the right time. And so we are actually glad to be working with the likes of Consensus and Ethereum on that.
So you're not, out there trying to defend your patent and get people to stop using. You created this agent protocol, and when other people want to adopt it, you're like, okay, let's welcome this. We want to be the standard, and you know that you just stay ahead of the innovation curve. Exactly. And your business is ahead of the rest of the innovation curve, and you'll grow and reap the rewards just by being on the front lines there.
Exactly. I mean, we're talking about some really well-established companies.
Okay.
We are still a startup, and we need to know our place in the world. And obviously, we have lofty goals. We want to be a unicorn and so on. And every startup should aim for the moon, aim for the stars, sort of thing. But the issue is, we understand these other players, where they are, how much power they wield, and we have to work collaboratively with them, and that's the best way to do it. Now, otherwise, you create these kind of like islands of technology that then they don't interoperate, and there's a problem. In fact, there are a lot of agents which have already been developed with certain tools like Crew AI, LangChain, Gemini, and so on. There are all these agents. But the number one problem that they have is they don't talk to one another. And so what we did is we actually have given away to the ecosystem something called Agent Wizard that gives these agents the same properties that our agents natively have: ID, name, wallet, the ability to connect, and all of these. Why we're doing this is because we believe that if people adopt these capabilities, over time we'll benefit either directly or indirectly, and using our tools and other things. So that's a better approach. While we cannot tell everyone to switch over, we rather be, like the O blood group. You can accept anything. You can, you don't need to force people to adopt your way of doing things.
This is the perspective of a multiple-time founder talking right now, right? And there's that old adage that first-time founders focus on product, second-time founders focus on distribution or collaboration. And I know this is like 5 and 6 and 7 for you when it comes to companies you've started and founded, but it really speaks to your experience, because the young kid starting off is like, no, it's got to be my way, and everybody else is copying me. And you're thinking the opposite. You're thinking, we want to give these protocols away. We want to be the standard. We want to move things forward. It's a whole different mentality, isn't it?
Right. I mean, I think we, the way to really build market shares, be friends and partners with everyone. And that's our approach. You want to be in the middle of the conversation. You cannot make enemies. You have to collaborate, because the space is so broad. It's growing. By the time we have this end of this interview and this conversation, there'll be 2 new things that have come up that I have to go and read up. That's how fast it's moving. And so we have this approach of, being very, being woven into the fabric of everything that's going on. And I think that's the right approach.